Andrew, Black Teachers Association of Alberta, over to you.
First and foremost, I want to also acknowledge that we're on Treaty 6 territory, and I want to acknowledge all the sacrifices made by the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities. I definitely want to thank everyone for being here today, and also thank the ministers involved for the invitation, which I was very luckily able to attend tonight, given the fact that we're planning some big events for kids in the community. Like the Prime Minister of Canada, education was my passion. It was my conviction. And I basically learned through being a teacher what it's like to not only take care of my own children, but to treat other people's children like they're my own. The Black Teachers Association of Alberta, formed 2 years ago, sadly was under the tragic events of George Floyd, death of George Floyd by police brutality, and Breonna Taylor. We recognize that there are a number of challenges in the diaspora, of course, in North America and United States, but also in Canada. I want to echo the thoughts of Sharif and Dunya that our community does need supports. We do need help. It has to be institutionalized, and we need the people in positions of power and authority to support us. Now, myself, I don't really enjoy like the titles and stuff. I'm still kind of getting used to it because the number one title for me is a dad. Sadly, one of our brothers who was a dad last week had a break, mental health, post-traumatic stress disorder, rooted in his experiences back home. When I saw Brother Latjur on the video, which I didn't want to watch, but I watched it, I was reminded of my brothers and sisters that were my best friends who came from South Sudan to Emily Lizard High School, and some of the challenges that they went through in the system, not just the education system, but the police system as well. And I could even say the hospitalization system too. That event right there could easily be the George Floyd for Canada, easily. And we have to ask ourselves, if a Black man holding a stick poses a threat that merits 5 bullets, at the same time last week, there's people who weren't our skin color holding sticks with flags on them, holding swastikas and Confederate flags, calling for the harm of the leader of our country. And these are big challenges right now, because in the community, what we're seeing sadly is a double standard. We're seeing that we're getting treated one way and our experiences are being handled one way. And then unfortunately on the other side, there's a whole lot of privileges attached to that. The Black Teachers Association is focused on 5 main pillars, representation being one. We want to make sure that there's more Black faces in front of the classroom. Our students will grow, our students will build, and they will feel safer when they see themselves in these positions. The second pillar of the Black Teachers Association is communication. We created that network on our own, whether it's WhatsApp, Facebook, or our very vibrant social media platform on Instagram. The third pillar is anti-racism. Anti-racism is something that is so necessary right now at every single institution in Canada. We're witnessing that. There's some people out there that are holding up some of these flags that have absolutely no clue what they represent. Fourth pillar is support. We want to create support systems similar to Dunya, but inside of schools. We want to make sure that the youth have safe spaces to go. One of the ways that we address that is by creating Black student associations, where we bring in allies, as well as members of the BIPOC community. We talk about racism, we talk about Black joy, we talk about excellence, we talk about the culture, and we teach ourselves to love ourselves. And the final pillar of the Black Teachers Association is bridges to post-secondary institutions, as well as networking. We've established that, but once again, largely, it was on our own, without some supports from the institutions. I will not waste this time with you, Prime Minister, because this is something that I never thought I'd be able to do, is talk face-to-face to the leader of this great nation. So I will just say to you that my voice is important, but all voices are important, and so is yours. So whatever you choose to do with all these conversations you've had today with these amazing people who I hold in the highest regard in our city, please help us in any way that you can and instruct us, and we will support you here in Edmonton, Alberta, and of course the province and the country of Canada. Thank you. I didn't want to take too much time, but thank you. God bless everybody.
Thank you, Andrew.
Andrew, not supposed to make the Minister of Tourism and the Prime Minister tear up. That wasn't part of the deal, but you got to me, man. So I appreciate your comments, and we got a lot of work to do.
Andrew, as teachers, we got to stick together, man. I am just so grateful to hear from you and your vision and your engagement. And yes, you are a teacher second, like I'm a prime minister second, because we are parents first, and that lens. But quite frankly, I'm a prime minister third, because I'm a dad first and a teacher second. And being a dad and a teacher is how I choose to engage as a prime minister. And it's my guide, it's my calling. But that frame that you have and the work you're doing with young people leaves me just so hopeful and optimistic about the world that you're bringing, about the empowerment you're bringing to young Black leaders who don't know yet that they're leaders, but are figuring it out. And the word that your mention of that terrible incident in Calgary last week, and I have to tell you, even as we were watching the situation in Ottawa and in Coutts and elsewhere, you can't help but think, okay, yes, it's good that the police handled it well, although it shows that they can handle it well when they need to. But the reflection on what would have happened if that had been a racialized crowd instead, if those had been, instead of trucks that ride with Jesus, trucks that ride with Allah, how quickly would that have turned to enforcement instead of dragging on as it did. There is systemic racism. It doesn't mean everyone's racist, obviously, but it does mean that there are reflections, real reflections we have to have about how we move forward as a society that is actually fair, that understands that that we don't have regardless of multiculturalism and inclusion and respect, that Canadians are rightly proud of, because we do it better than a lot of places in the world. But we still have so much more work to do. And when I think of your students and the world they're going to grow up in, I know we all have a lot of work to make sure that they are better, that world is better for them, and that they don't face some of the things that you face in your daily lives as Black Canadians, and things that I only know of secondhand from having had so many conversations like this. When you keep getting doors slammed in your face for no justifiable reason, yes, you see people turn to paths that are troubling, and that's where I remember when we made the announcement on the Black entrepreneurship strategy, a number of white reporters put up their hands and said, "Well, wait, where's the real action for the Black community on policing and things like that?" I said, "Yes, we're working on that too, but this is what this announcement is today, and this is where we're going." And that listening and working with the community is at the heart of everything we need to do.